Hi, it's Matt. I've been building a diorama of Grand Narukami Shrine, and a tiny part of the project is this teleport waypoint. Here's an 11mm tall Master Gene for scale. Today we're going to make a bigger version. A teleport waypoint mini desk lamp that provides insufficient illumination, but does change color when Genshin Impact posts something new on their social accounts. My current 3D model of the teleport waypoint lacks some of the finer details, so I got in touch with Ilmaz at Random But Quality, and he had a pretty good 3D model of the teleport waypoint. He was also kind enough to make a couple edits for me so that it matched the in-game design a bit more. I designed a base in Fusion 360 for the platform to rest on, which has some space for the electronics. Once it looked good to go, it was time for 3D printing. This is my MSLA printer. It precisely cures UV resin into desired shapes. I love the quality of the prints that come out of it. The vat is filled up with resin and it does its thing. While the printer runs, I could do my important activities. It took about 4 hours to print this platform, and I assure you I didn't play Genshin Impact for all 4 hours. The part gets washed in this 91% isopropyl alcohol bath, which cleans off any uncured resin sticking to the surface. Then it goes into this post-curing UV chamber to make the parts strong and stable. Here's a POV if you were inside the UV chamber. We just have to do the same with the rest of the parts. And here are the pieces for the platform and base, printed out of gray resin. These two pieces form the top of the base, and I glue them together with super glue. All the parts are sanded, and any imperfections are covered up with putty. It doesn't need to be pretty as long as it's a clean surface for the next step, painting. I don't exactly enjoy the process of painting because I'm always scared I'm going to mess it up. But one of my university alumni told me to put myself in challenging situations because it'll help with growth. So I'll try. This kimbap tray will live a second life as a paint tray. Normally, I think you should apply primer to your parts, but I didn't have any at home, so we'll skip that step. The platform is gray, and the first gray I used was kind of dark, so I went over it again with a lighter shade. But then I applied the darker shade to the recessed parts of the platform, so I kind of did extra work. This raised area gets painted gold, and then some white dry brushing to make the edges pop. The base is the easiest. Black is applied all around. And then the platform is glued onto the base with super glue. Now we can add some ground covering onto the base. I covered the platform with some paper and masking tape to protect it from potential disaster. Some Mod Podge is brushed onto the top surface, and then I sprinkled on grout. Any excess can be shaken off and saved for later use. The color was a bit light, so I also brushed on tan earth paint. Time for grass. This is static grass, which stands upright when applied with a static applicator. I got this static grass applicator over a year ago, but never had the chance to use it. The static grass is loaded into the cup, and I wonder what happens if I touch the metal. I applied glue to the areas I want grass, and then energized the static grass applicator and let it rain. I think it's pretty satisfying to see the grass come down. This is the top part of the teleport waypoint, printed with translucent resin because I'm hoping some of the light will shine through. I masked off the translucent areas with masking tape and started with the same gray paint. It took a couple of coats to make the surface completely opaque, and once the gray was good, I painted on gold. This looks decent, and I think that was enough painting for one night, so we can move on to the electronics. There are 3 components: this Node MCU board, which can connect to Wi-Fi, a 7 LED PCB, and to power the setup, I have this micro USB breakout board, which will receive 5 volts from USB power. I had to remove the headers from the Node MCU board to fit within the base. Everything gets wired together with some sloppy soldering and screwed into place on the base. Wow, that rhymed. To get the Node MCU board online, I utilized the Blink IoT platform, which was pretty simple to set up even for my smooth brain. I also used if this then that, which is pretty self-explanatory. For example, if Genshin Impact posts a new YouTube video, then we want the teleport light to change to red. Lastly, the teleport is glued onto the base with some epoxy. And that's it. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to build your own, links to the files are in the video description, and feel free to message me on Instagram or Twitter if you have any questions. Peace.